The idea for 1984's The Terminator came to James Cameron in a dream, or to be more exact, a feverish nightmare, and I can show you that nightmare because not only is Cameron a great screenwriter and director, he's also an accomplished artist who storyboarded the film himself. The initial seed for that nightmare probably contained the genes of 1973's Westworld somewhere in its makeup, as well as that of 1970's Colossus the Forbin Project, a film that predicts many of the issues we face with AI today or will face in the future. It was Cameron's view that AI had the potential to be a competitor to the human race, and perhaps even the master of it. That is nightmare fuel to many, and Hollywood loves a good nightmare. But Cameron needed a screenplay if he was to attract a Hollywood backer, and his first attempt at a screenplay for The Terminator had strong similarities with what would become its sequel, Terminator II: Judgment Day. The original draft had two different Terminators being sent back in time. The first was a conventional cyborg which would be destroyed by the film's hero, Reese, but a second, more advanced Terminator would be sent to replace it, one that was made of liquid metal, just as in Judgment Day. Cameron dropped this idea when he realized that the special effects of the early 1980s weren't capable of delivering his vision. He focused on the cyborg Terminator instead, expanding its role and making it a more formidable opponent. Cameron sold his finished screenplay to his friend and former colleague Gale Anne Hurd for only $1 on the promise that she would produce the film and he would direct.
And we decided that we would collaborate on the film and bring it to the screen. We were turned down by every major studio. However, we did have one connection to Orion Pictures.
Ultimately, the project would receive a modest budget, and now the task was to get the right actors at the right price. The director knew exactly what he needed from those actors, and his final choice to play the Terminator itself would alter the very fabric of his vision. One of my favorite actors, Lance Henriksen, had long been linked to the role. He would play a part in the film as a detective and play Bishop 2 years later in Cameron's Aliens, but he would not be the Terminator. Other considerations were Sylvester Stallone and Mel Gibson, who both turned down the offer. O.J. Simpson was also suggested, but Cameron wasn't convinced by the notion of him playing a killer. In the end, the Terminator would be played by an actor who was currently under consideration to play the part of the film's hero, Reese.
Talking about along the lines of me playing the heroic character.
Right. On the back of my mind, I was thinking the Terminator, you were thinking the Terminator, but we sit and we have this polite lunch because we've never met each other, and neither one of us mentions it, right? And then we both go back to our guys and say, Terminator, you know.
Cameron would then make a killer move to get his chosen actor by painting a stunning portrait of him as the cyborg villain and sending it to his office to convince Arnie that,
I am the Terminator. I'm going to make this call now.
Right.
And I called Lou,
right.
My agent, right away, and they called you and I said, I want to play the Terminator.
Yeah.
And then the deal was made.
You're close. Give them to me, now.
But just like Arnold himself, the casting choice would make the film larger than life. The original concept for the look of the Terminator robot was the same as in Judgment Day. It would be of normal physique and capable of blending into a crowd, and would not draw attention to itself.
And that concept changed because Arnold doesn't vanish into a crowd. It took on a slightly more hyperbolic visual style. It was a little larger than life.
Now he had the problem of casting the film's hero, Kyle Reese, a character who conveyed far more than just battle skills. Sting, Christopher Reeve, and even rock god Bruce Springsteen were considered for the part until it was offered to versatile actor Michael Biehn, who displayed the right mix of sensitivity and strength. And those qualities were also part of the character of Sarah Connor, with Linda Hamilton eventually cast after a lengthy search by Cameron for his female lead. The film's production was frustrating at best, not least because it was delayed for 9 months when Schwarzenegger's management refused to release him before he'd completed work on Conan the Barbarian. Cameron knew that The Terminator would be a better film with Schwarzenegger in it, so he decided to wait rather than recast the role, spending his time planning the production with Gale Anne Hurd and bringing his vision to life for cast and crew with those extensive storyboards.
They were able to use the storyboards to say, okay, we're going to do this live on the set, we're going to do this following frame through stop-motion animation.
But it's the unexpected that often throws a production into disarray.
Right before we started shooting, Linda Hamilton broke her ankle.
The entire shoot had to be rescheduled to cater for the problem, moving all action scenes with Hamilton to the end of production. Even so, she was still heroically running on a recently broken ankle that had to be dressed every day. Despite the film's modest budget, Cameron had assigned some notable names from the world of special effects, including Stan Winston. It was Winston that convinced him to use multiple effects techniques to bring his nightmare vision to life for that thrilling climax. One of those techniques was puppetry, where a model of the robot's torso was placed on the shoulders of a puppeteer. Animatronics were used for head and eye movement, and stop motion was used for certain shots. But the most astonishing thing that I learned from my Terminator DVD's extras was that the amazing exploding truck was actually a miniature.
The Terminator. Your future is in his hands. The Terminator. Rated R. The #1 movie in the USA is now playing everywhere.
The Terminator was a success in its cinematic release in 1984, and an even bigger success in its afterlife on home video and television. It also became the prime symbol of AI gone wrong, with Cameron's nightmare vision warning of the dangers of our ever-increasing reliance on machines. This new series will also include videos on Terminator 2 Judgment Day, Westworld, Colossus the Forbin Project, and The Matrix. Thanks for watching.